What's
What's
going on?
not a whole lot, man. Not a
Hey,
whole.
I learned something new today.
What did you learn?
I learned that Scotty Miller's faster than Tyreek Hill.
Did you? Okay, yeah, I was gonna say that because apparently, and then, um, well, yeah, okay, let's talk about that. Two things on that. One is that I didn't realize what he looked like. I was like, because I looked him up, and I was like, this dude looks like a college like quarterback, like a white college like quarterback, and he runs a 4.3, and he's faster than Tyreek Hill. He thinks he is though,
Yeah.
and then and that's not true. I
Well,
don't get because I
I,
actually just got done watching the highlights of the Bills game, and Tyreek Hill was running on a different level than everybody else. It was ridiculous how fast he was.
I decided, since he's faster than Tyreek Hill, I should look up all the times that Scotty Miller, just like torched someone way down the field.
Well,
And
yeah, and let's talk about that one play because he was involved in that one play where I felt like the Packers were tanking. Was that like
yes,
the Jets defense that they called at the end of the half? I
let's go.
I I posted about that. I was like, it looks like the Packers are taking this game against the Buccaneers for a higher draft pick. What are they doing? What
I
did they
don't know.
call the way that LaFleur called that game? The way that like that defense is called, where he just got behind the guy.
Hey, you've got the second best quarterback in the NFL, and
Yeah,
inside the red zone,
yeah,
you don't go for it.
right. So again, just me watching that with my naked eye the first time, I was like, why didn't Rodgers run that?
You know, I have a theory on that, which I think some other folks have said. My theory is that he didn't run it because he knew they were going to kick on fourth down if they
Oh,
didn't make it.
that's what he said. Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
he said.
I think if he had thought they had fourth down too, then he would have run to like the 5 at least, or given it
Yeah.
a shot, and then had a better shot for a touchdown.
It didn't make any sense to kick that field goal. And you know what? Yeah, it didn't make any sense, and it didn't make any sense for people. Did you see the ESPN graphic? I think it was one of the Hasselbacks was check marking, and they gave the wide receiver and the quarterback. They gave that edge to the Bills.
Well, the tail of the tape, he is taller than Mahomes, so
Was okay. Okay, he is taller, yeah. But and arm wise, I don't know. Like he's crazy arm strength, but like,
yeah,
not really that accurate. I mean,
probably not. No.
And you saw that game. The game was a little too big for Josh Allen.
Yeah. Well, he's not. He hadn't been there, so
What's
you know,
that?
he hadn't been there, so
No.
this is
Yeah, and he's good. I actually think he's better than Brady at this point. Like I was more scared of him than Brady. Brady doesn't scare me because Brady. Did you watch the second half of the Bucs game?
You mean when Peyton Manning's noodle arm got outfitted on Brady's
I
arm?
know Brady was throwing up like those things were like it was like Target. It was like, poof. He was throwing up ducks. It was. I don't like it was. And the Packers somehow didn't win because the Packers made every mistake you can make in that game.
So
Ever.
here's my question.
Passes.
If Mahomes is the Packers quarterback, out of those 3 interceptions, instead of having a 3 and out on 2 of them, they probably score twice.
Maybe. And another thing about that game I didn't like, and in general, what the NFL I don't like is the officiating, just because they let him play all
Yeah,
game.
that last call was cheap. It was right, but they hadn't called that the entire game. So why?
The interception at the end of the half was because of the guy was held. So
Yeah.
NFL needs to do something. They're not going to do something about but I don't know. They need to be better at calling those. Call more consistently.
For sure.
But the Chiefs though, what do you think about that game, Connor? Like, what was your expectations going in?
So my expectations were that we would win, but my expectation was not that both our offense and defense were going to bring their A game.
Yeah.
And I mean, the defense was
Amazing.
legitimately dominant.
You know who really impressed me? Two guys, Juan Thornhill and L'Jarius Sneed.
Sneed is a 4th-round pick who is
Yeah.
probably the best cornerback, definitely out of the probably rookies and second-year guys, but he might be a top 5 cornerback.
And then if you go back to 2018, the Bills traded. Who they trade for? 2017. 2017.
Yeah. No, I mean, here's the deal. The Bills did all right. Like, they traded.
Do you know who they got, though?
They got Tre'Davious White.
Right, and you know who got you know who got burned in that?
Yeah, but who doesn't get burned by Tyreek Hill?
No, you're right. The Bills.
I mean, that's they asked him to do the impossible task.
Right.
Hey,
right.
Cover this guy one-on-one. And by the way, he's faster than
That's never worked in the history of any coach trying to do that, especially the Buccaneers coach.
My only request for the Buccaneers is that they do that. Please cover him one-on-one.
Yeah, no, they won't. That's why I think like Travis Kelce's going to eat. As long as we don't do anything stupid like we did last game against the Bucs and decide, hey, Travis Kelce, we're going to have you play quarterback.
Right.
Remember when he did that? And then Andy Reid's was settling for field goals. I don't think that's going to happen.
So here's the question. On a scale of 1 to 10, at what point in Eric Fisher's first 2 years with the Chiefs did you ever think you'd be going, man, I really, really wish we had Eric Fisher on the line for the Super Bowl?
No.
Like a -5 on a scale of 1 to 10, or because he is our best offensive lineman
right now? Yeah, because Schwartz is hurt and he's probably not going to play.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So I don't. Did you see who they signed though? They signed Darrell Williams. They signed another Darrell Williams from the Buffalo Bills.
Really? I did not see that.
Yeah. So they have 3, like the Darrell Williams, who had a pretty bad game against Chris Jones or against Frank Clark. But Frank Clark, when Frank Clark wants to turn it on, he's pretty good.
He definitely has a switch. Yeah.
But so they have like 3 Darrell Williams on their team. Is it Darrell Williams, Darian Williams, and then Darren Wilson?
And Darwin Thompson, just to.
I want him to get. I want him to get. I've always been impressed with Darwin Thompson whenever he runs the ball. He always gets more yards than I think he should. But yeah, no, they both brought their A game, which is really cool. Because all we've heard from the Colin Cowards of the world is that, no, you can't do that. The Bills are playing better than the Chiefs. You can't do that. You can't turn the switch on. I don't think you can do that. And then the Chiefs just said, no, watch us. You think we're – you think we're going to bring our A game to the Falcons?
Yeah. Give us some space. We're ready to work. Well, and see, now they, for some reason, people continue to give Mahomes bulletin board material. So, the thing now that the talking heads are saying is, if you put Deshaun Watson or Tom Brady,
Stephen A. Smith said that.
You put them with the Kansas City offense, and they'd be better than Mahomes.
Yeah, well, Stephen A. Smith, I guarantee you, does not know a whole lot about football, because if you remember a while, but I think it was Mahomes' rookie year, he said the key to the Raiders game or the key to the Chargers game was Derek Johnson. and Derek Johnson actually had retired. So
I forgot about that.
Yeah, and that's what this man said on air. He's like, I think the key to this game. And then he listed some guy for the Chargers who was hurt all year. But he was like, the key to the game, I think, is going to be Derek Johnson on that defense. I'm like, he retired last year.
He's not here, guys. He's not.
So he's and God bless people who think that, but if you actually think that Mahomes doesn't have the intangibles to guide that offense, as far as mind, as far as the ability to play call, the ability to improvise, do all of that, he's better than anybody in the league.
Well, here's the deal. if he does win his second Super Bowl,
Mhm.
then there'll be a short list of guys who in their first 3 years starting, because that
Yeah.
other year you can't count. He was learning, but he
Yeah.
wasn't playing. You know, that have an MVP, a Super Bowl MVP, and 2 Super Bowls. And it'd be
Yeah.
one person on that list.
Right. It's Tom Brady.
No, Tom Brady didn't do that. He didn't have an MVP.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's only
No,
Mahomes.
no. People want to compare that to Tom Brady.
Well,
I've
Tom
always,
Brady had 3 in his first 4 years.
I've always had issues with that because Brady, look, as Brady is the winningest player of all, he's not the best though. He's not the best quarterback. I felt like John Elway was better. Just if Dan Marino was a better quarterback than Tom Brady.
I I can get behind the fact that
But Brady, go ahead.
because he always made the right decisions at the right times in those games. Like there is something to be said about the fact that
Right.
when pressure was high, he always performed well, right?
Right.
Now, granted, lately not as much, but he's 42, 43, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not a Tom Brady fan, but
Right.
I don't have a problem with calling him the greatest of all time because
Oh.
he's had some of those that have
I
happened.
don't. I have a difficult time of crowning a guy who scored 13 points in a Super Bowl and won, and then saying he was the reason he won. That was the Rams.
But pure quarterback play. You know me, I would have said that Rodgers was better than any of
I
those
would
guys.
too until I actually saw that game. Like, I don't know.
I fully expected him to come back and for them to win that, and
Yeah,
he
I
just
don't.
looked bad in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
Both of them did.
and then the drive to end the half, they were kind of being slow. The thing that I love Rodgers, and I've always thought Rodgers and Mahomes were essentially 1A, 1B. Rodgers probably had a better year this year. But did you see that video with McCole Hardman dropping the ball? And then Mahomes going and talking to
That's
him?
the difference between Mahomes and the other top tier quarterbacks.
And
they
Mahomes
would blame people.
Yeah, Mahomes, Rodgers would not have done that.
And Brady would have been cussing him off the field before he started.
Brady would have been yelling at his offensive line the whole year. So that's why that's the difference between that.
And you know who I'm going to say influences that, right? Because I'm a sucker. Alex Smith.
Yeah, Alex Smith was never a rah-rah guy though. But
no, but he was a calming influence and never ripping people.
Alex Smith might have a job as I don't know. He can do whatever he wants now. He's his story. He can tell the story. What's that?
I want him to come back up Mahomes just to
get a ring.
Yeah.
No, that would be cool. I don't. Yeah. That was. I think Alex Smith. His story is going to go to Hollywood. You and I actually watched the game that changed our franchise, and that was the Steelers' loss.
Yes, we did.
Remember when, Connor, you could beat us kicking field goals?
Yes, 6 of them actually. 6
you could beat us kicking field goals, and then
and Le'Veon Bell was actually a running back then.
Yeah, man, what happened?
I think he's probably, yes, you get older, but I think also like you don't just adapt to Andy Reid's offense like nothing.
No, you're right.
It takes a while.
I'll be honest with you. Like I was really impressed with Darrell Williams, and I was more impressed with him than I have been with CEH.
But here's the thing: Williams has been in that system,
right? Sure,
he's got the reps in the system.
That's true.
I mean, that's the thing is that it takes. I think that's why we've seen even Mahomes in the past 2 years. You keep seeing all these wrinkles continue to wrinkle out, and I mean, it's getting even more complex. And I think part of that is just like he's getting even more comfortable in it.
He's actually like helping to build the system.
Yeah. So I think that plays into it. I mean, I feel like CEH has been given an unfair rap. The guy was hurt, what, 4 or 5 games, and he's still second out of all the rookies in rushing?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just going off eye test. But he's been really good. I just want to see more yards after contact. I don't know. I'm probably being too hard on him.
Well, at one point in the season, he was second behind Derrick Henry in that stat. So,
well,
it's deceiving.
Derrick Henry's a stud.
He's a monster.
But yeah, no. That game like changed. That Pittsburgh loss changed everything.
It did, because the next year, like, Alex Smith turned into a guy who threw downfield.
Right.
And, like,
right.
Everything went nuts. Yeah.
We drafted Mahomes. Alex Smith threw downfield. Mahomes got to sit, watch Alex Smith.
Yep.
And then stuff started to that's how our team was built. Tyreek Hill became a wide receiver instead of a return specialist.
That's still the great. He's still salty about that.
He's gonna take that to his grave, man. Like when he gets it, because I think he will get inducted into the Hall of Fame. He will say, "I know, I'm just a return specialist," and then bling out his rings that he has, and just shine him in Jalen Ramsey's face and say, "You went ring chasing, you went ring, and you didn't get any of it."
Here's the thing that I love about, like, the culture of our team. Like, the guys are so really, like, they don't worry about stats. I mean, Kelsey could have led the league in receiving yards.
Yeah.
Mahomes could have thrown for over 5,000 again with 40 touchdowns, right? So he could have done either of those very easily just by playing that last week. They're so nice about things, but then they are super salty about stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Mahomes keeps track of everything.
Oh, he hears everything. He hears everything.
Yeah, I mean, the showing the 2, you know, he's talking about being second team All-Pro.
He did that. You know? Like, and I was like, I
counted to 4 for being the 4th best player.
Well, I saw one of the radio personalities tweet about that, and I asked him, what does this mean? And he was like, that means the All-Pro, like, because him and Josh Allen were both second team All-Pro, and if you watch that game, you can't tell me who was better. Like, I mean, you can't make a case that Josh Allen was better, even if you're a Bills fan.
Yeah.
Like, you'll tell yourself, but like you don't actually believe it because.
Yeah. No.
Man, and
well, I
love that.
I think the sign of that, the respect you get from that, is when a guy, you know, in their follow-up press conferences, when Tre'Davious White says, "Listen, until we can beat the Chiefs, we're not going to win the Super Bowl." Like, they're the team.
Right. Yeah.
That's where the goal is. That's where the target is. That's how we build our team, not for anything but to beat them.
Yeah. Now, do you agree with Nick Wright, though? And what he said is that the Raiders should hang a banner. The Raiders should hang a banner this year.
Well, I wondered if maybe they all got on their team bus and drove around their stadium, you know, to celebrate that they had beaten the team that's going to the Super Bowl. But
the one
I guess, you know,
legitimate win.
I mean, if they want to do that, then I mean, crud. I guess the Chargers should too. I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
No, the Chargers don't deserve that. I mean, I'll let Chad Henne, like, yeah.
Anything's possible, man.
Anything is possible. So let me tell you a little bit about the last game. So I had a friend who I actually considered a good friend, right? And he's a Bills fan, like from Kansas City. He ended up unfriending me on social media because he's so mad. I'll tell you what he wrote, and this isn't bad, but I'll tell you what he sent me a message, and then he proceeded to block me before I could respond. So he wrote, so Chris Jones, ? Dirty POS or just slightly less of POS than Dirty Dan? Because he was still mad about Dirty Dan's hit. That
right. Yes.
I mean, yeah, you won, but it shows lack of characters to support cheap shot artists and child abusers. Like, dude has issues.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. What you saw at the end of the game was just as cheap.
Right.
Now, what I do want to compliment Josh Allen on is we did get to see a close-up his most accurate pass.
Exactly. It was textbook. Like the form was textbook.
It was textbook.
Accuracy.
It hit the target perfectly.
Accuracy.
Unfortunately, the defensive lineman hit in the face wasn't ready to receive it, so it was a drop.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
No.
Because that's what's. It was kind of indicative of the whole night because he threw a lot of passes to our players that got dropped.
He did. And then Juan Thornhill dropped about 3 of them. So
yeah, he did.
And he had a phenomenal game. Phenomenal game.
He was great. All right.
But so this is Juan Thornhill. I'm going to date myself here. But when I was in college, we played this game, NCAA 2002.
Okay.
My senior year of college, because that's how old I am. But on Dynasty mode, you could get these, you build your dynasty. And so my roommates and I did this where we build a dynasty. And I had this player, and his name was Watkins. His last name, Pat Watkins. He was a made-up player. Anyway, he was a ridiculously good cornerback.
Right.
But he would have wide open passes. If he caught it, he was going to run the other way for a touchdown. And when you would push the button to intercept it, he would swat the pass.
Oh.
And so it became this theme among us. We'd be and he hits. And I knocked out 2 of my roommates' quarterbacks for the season with Watkins on blitzes. So he hit super hard. Right. So we'd scream Watkins, that's what Thornhill reminds me of. Thornhill is in the right place at the right time. He hits hard, but sometimes when he's about to catch a ball, you're pretty sure he's just going to chuck it out of bounds instead.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That, oh man, he's just one of those guys and I'm glad that he's actually showing up because.
Well, I think his injury is finally healing.
Right.
I think that's all it is.
It's crazy to say this, especially a couple years after having the worst secondary that I've ever seen. We have some of the best.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at a graphic today that our secondary rates number one in 3 or 4 categories.
Right. Who was the guy? He sometimes does interviews too, but he was the cornerback for the Chiefs, and he gave up Phillip Rivers' 2-point conversion to lose the game. Remember that?
Not Flowers. It wasn't Brandon Flowers, was it?
No, it's just way after Flowers. But we traded, and then we sent him out for Javarius Ford. I forgot his name. And so he came from Dallas, the cornerback from Dallas. Just not memorable, but he was awful. We just had it because we were going through cornerbacks left and right in 2018.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking the other thing. I think
Orlando Scandrick is his name.
Oh yeah, Scandrick. I do remember him. And I blocked him, and then
we all tried to block that nonsense.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Well, I think some of it is just people are finally finding their place in Spags' defense.
He's amazing as a coordinator. He's amazing.
Dan Sorensen is a good example. If you're having Dan Sorensen do coverage all the time, it's going to be bad.
No, it's not.
One-on-one coverage.
Yeah.
He gets toasted, right? But if you put him where he's a rover and he just gets to do semi-questionable hits all the time.
Did you think that hit was illegal? I understood it.
Yeah, I understand. It definitely could have been flagged, and we couldn't have gotten mad about it.
No, you're right.
But at the same time,
the
receiver was going really low.
The receiver was
going really low. It's really hard to fault him. I think that's why they didn't fine him because of that.
Right.
Just find the guy that hit Mahomes. That wasn't a dirty hit, Mac Wilson. No. That wasn't a dirty hit. It's just the way that it ended up was just fun.
Yeah. No, the guy seems like a good dude. Mac Wilson is his name, I think.
Yeah. I mean, that's football. You
Yeah,
have hits like that. And
yeah,
sometimes, and like I said, had they flagged it initially, I would have been like, you know what? You're right.
yeah.
It
Can't
would have
argue with that.
stunk, but it would have been right.
Yeah.
But they didn't. And since they didn't, it's what it is,
I
you
and
know?
I and I like that. I say how much I hate officials, but I actually like the fact that they did not call it because I think they overcall games a lot of times.
Well, and here's the deal. That's I think what was a little frustrating to me about the Packers game
Right.
is like they didn't call stuff the whole time,
Right.
and then you call the one that ends the game.
Yeah.
I mean, at least let them punt it back and see what happens. Like
Right.
because if you're going to call it loose, players are going to adjust it, just like in
Exactly.
basketball.
Exactly.
You adjust to whether it's tight or loose calling.
Right.
And we know in the playoffs they swallow their whistles. I
Mhm.
mean, there were enough holding calls on both sides of the Bills and Chiefs to keep both of those offenses going backwards for a long time. But they weren't
Right.
calling,
Right.
because it's the
Which
playoffs.
is yeah, it's the playoffs and there's holding on every play.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah. So that's true. And you just got to kind of it's got to be egregious. That's what I've always said. It's got to be egregious.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
to make that call. But yeah, I think that the Chiefs. I mean, it's just crazy how we went from Bob Sutton not adjusting to anything to Spags. It's just insane. Like
Yeah.
I love how he calls his defense. And I love the dogs on our defense, like the Honey Badger. I
I
mean,
think I
he's
think
so much
that's
better
a
than Eric
big
Berry. I'll say it. He's
yeah.
so much better than Eric Berry. Eric Berry. I
Well,
know
but
people
here's
like Eric Berry was not on the field. Honey Badger's done more than 2 years, and I know Eric Berry has got a great story, but like the way that he went day to day the whole year in
but that
2018,
I don't think that was as much on him. I
it
really
was.
don't.
Like what? Who are they? What the team's gonna? The doctor's gonna put him day to day the whole year? What are they?
I mean that's on the conversation with the team, and when he was back, you could tell he wasn't right. But even when he was back, that defense, just him being in the backfield, defensive backfield, they played better. I mean,
A
so
little.
I've never held that
I mean,
against
they gave
Eric.
up a bunch of. He gave up a bunch of plays to Brady in the
Well, that's because he was hurt.
AFC.
That's where the doctors they need to shut him down, but
Well,
they
we didn't
didn't.
have no one. We didn't have anybody better at the time. But
Exactly. Yeah.
it's just amazing how much passion that this team plays with instead of guys like D Ford.
Yeah.
Who
I think when I think of like going back to Barry for a second, like I haven't heard anybody complain about Mitchell Schwartz, right?
is he go? Is he day to day?
He's not on the injured list. He's
Yeah,
just
I've
but his
always wondered about
and
that. That's true.
and
Yeah, I've
there's
always wondered about that. Um,
and
he
that's
needs.
because they want him to be available if it all of a sudden feels better, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously we'd take him at
Well,
70%.
right. I think he needs to at least try to make the Super Bowl. I mean, I don't know how he feels. But if you're going to rule him out, rule him out. But
But like I
yeah,
said, I
that's
think
been
that
weird.
gets
That's a weird thing too. Like,
back injuries are so fickle though. I mean, like you could feel great for a week and then go out, tweak it, and you're done. So I think that's what makes us and just as
you got
injuries
one
in general.
game. You got one more
Yeah,
game.
yeah,
So
true. Well, and everybody's hurt at this point. I mean, everybody's got dings somewhere.
yeah,
You don't play the whole season and get this far without being
no,
messed up pretty good.
you're on that
So,
TB12.
yeah, right. Unless you're on the TB12, then
Yeah.
you're unless someone's coming after you in the backfield, then you heave it really high.
Just that, and he's done that so much this year. The worst pass that I've ever seen anybody ever make was Brady against the Saints. He tried to scramble, and then he just – this is Sunday Night Football, national television. This man's embarrassing himself, and he just chucks it up in the middle of the field as he's trying to scramble, and he chucks it up as high as he can, and, of course, it gets picked off.
Well, here's the deal. In the Packers game, he may have had pretty much a flawless first half.
Yeah.
Like he went at halftime, and I thought that's the best I've seen Tom Brady play since 2018, probably.
Yeah.
Like legit that good.
Right.
And then he came out in the second half, and I swear Peyton Manning actually wore his uniform.
2015 Peyton Manning came back.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
The wet noodle. Like, defense is going to take care of you, buddy. All you got to do is snap the ball.
Right.
Which I think we probably should talk sometime about how dominant that Denver defense was, because they basically won without their quarterback having an arm.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. They pretty much what they did was they broke the Panthers.
Yeah, they did. Von Miller broke the Panthers.
Yeah,
But,
Dan
all right, back to good stuff though. We don't want to dwell on the horses.
No, we don't. Who wants to talk about the Broncos? They get to watch us in the Super Bowl.
So the line's 3.
Yeah, Chiefs are playing an away game, and the line is 3. They're playing an away game in the Super Bowl. I love it.
I do too. I think it's good for them.
Yeah.
You know, I think it'd be, honestly, I think the best thing in the world would be if Tampa Bay got the ball first, went down and scored.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
to really get them.
Yeah.
Torqued.
That's why I didn't really care about the McCole Hardman thing, because we've seen that before. Like, this is just what happens in the playoff games with the Chiefs. People muff punts.
Yep.
Like, the special team does something stupid every game.
And then you know that Andy Reid is going to go directly back to that person and like use them as an example to the other team of, look, you got one thing from this guy, now he's going to tear your heart out.
Yeah. Yep. The McCole Hardman 51-yard rush. I mean, but again, that's the difference between guys like teammates like Brady and teammates like Mahomes. Mahomes will go and encourage the guy. Brady, I don't know. Brady just like sits there and pouts. I just go back to the Bears game where Brady didn't know what down it was. Remember, he was like thought it was 4th down. And then, but you the whole time, because Khalil Mack was just sacking him. He had like 3 sacks that game, and Brady was just yelling and staring down his offensive line. It's like, bro, you know, they've bailed you out so many times this year too. Like, you're not as talented as you think you are. Like, you need it because you're not good enough to win without them. Like, Mahomes can do without a good offensive line. He's proven that.
We would love for him to have.
It would be nice if our offensive line didn't every one of them didn't quit football this year.
Well, they're coming back next year. See, that's what's crazy is you have 2 of our offensive linemen that opted out. They're back next year.
Nang and
the doctor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, so that will be good.
Mm-hmm.
But,
what do you think about that spread, though?
So, I think that they're giving Tampa Bay the home field spread treatment because I think probably 5 or 6 is actually what I think the spread should be, because you're never going to go that far because it's a Super Bowl and you don't want. I mean, I feel like even the largest spread probably was like the 07 Patriots, and I don't feel like their spread was double digits even. You know.
Yeah.
But I think what'll be interesting is the spread's pretty small, but the over-under's like 56.5. And, I mean, with these 2 offenses, depending on how the defenses play, if the defenses aren't getting good pressure, I mean, you could see that close at halftime. You could see 56 total points.
Right. Yeah, that I don't know.
But I feel like the Chiefs secondary is a strength, and Tampa Bay secondary is a weakness, and I think that ultimately will be the deciding factor in the game.
Yeah, I know. I'm a little scared about Fisher being out in our offensive line.
Yeah, but I feel like they can do rollouts, do some things to, do some draws maybe. I don't know. That rush defense for Tampa Bay is really good.
But it seems like they've only been good against the Packers.
It's true. Well, they're the number one rush defense
What's
in the
that?
league. They're the number one rush defense in the league.
Well, yeah, that's fine.
But for us, that doesn't matter. That just means Mahomes throws more.
Yeah, we're okay.
Yeah.
That's good. And who knows? Andy Reid might come in and try to run some draws. But I don't know. I felt bad for Fisher. I'm hoping that Andy will they'll scheme up guys to.
Yeah. They've got 2 weeks. I mean, this is giving Andy Reid a bye week.
And he's in the laboratory right now, just designing plays that.
I mean, they like to run in Ferrari. They probably have like a Maserati series they're getting ready to put in. Or who knows?
Right. I don't know. I think that I like, and I hate to say this because every time I pick the Chiefs to lose, they always just dominate. But I hate this because I picked them to beat the Browns. I thought the Chiefs were way better than the Browns, so Chiefs could play their C game and still beat the Browns, and they ended up having to play their C game at the fourth quarter. But I thought that the Bills, I think I bought the hype, and I thought that the Bills were going to come in because I bought the hype that Josh Allen's better than I
don't think you bought the hype. I think that was a great reverse jinx you did.
Well, yeah, I think I gave too much credit to the offense. I thought their offense was going to come in and just because I watched them play against Miami.
I'm a whole lot more concerned with Tampa Bay's offense than I was with Buffalo's.
I'm not.
Mainly not because of Brady, but because they have 4 receivers who are good.
Yeah.
I mean, they have 4 receivers who are really good.
Yeah.
I mean, Godwin, Evans, and Antonio Brown, if he plays, I mean, they're all number one receivers.
Right.
And then Scotty Miller is super fast, I guess.
Yes, yeah, apparently.
Yeah, but I mean, he's sneaky good. They got a rookie that plays pretty well, Tyler Johnson. Cameron Braid at tight end's okay. But, I mean, they're balanced. So
they got a good team attack, too, with Leonard Fournette.
Yeah. Now, do I think they're going to outscore the Chiefs? No, I don't. But.
No, because the Chiefs, they've played together more.
Well, and I think they want to prove a point.
Yeah. Kelsey Hill and Mahomes are in such a sync that it's pretty hard to stop them. The only way you stop them is Tyreek Hill drops passes.
Right. But he had the one drop.
Oh, I was like, but he drops a lot of those deep balls, so he's got to catch those. Yeah. I'm concerned about him dropping deep balls in this game.
I'm not too worried about it. It seems like for him, it's when he's got to have them, he's got them. So
sure, that's true. Nobody ever has come up more big time than he has.
Yeah.
As far as with the 3rd and 15 last year, the Wasp play, and then the every clinching 4th down or 3rd down time we need a play, we always roll out there to him. We did out at Tampa Bay last game. 3rd down. It was 3rd and 7. Mahomes scrambled and hit Hill.
The thing I'm interested to see is who keeps their composure on the defensive and offensive lines of both teams, because we got hotheads all the way around. You got Ndamukong Suh, Pierre Paul on one side. You've got Chris Jones on ours and Frank Clark. Frank Clark's pretty under control, but he'll play hot just to play hot. Right. But then you've got that lineman for Tampa Bay who's always fighting someone. So, it's and I feel like Allegretti's always trying to fight somebody too. So,
we'll see. No more, but that's where the reps have to come in and not call dumb technical. I don't know if I like personal foul penalties. I think they're technical, unless it's completely egregious.
Right.
Like I felt like Chris Jones probably deserved a personal foul.
Oh yeah, he probably should have been ejected, but they
Yeah.
didn't.
No, it's it. He
He'll have
can't.
a fine for that.
What?
He'll have
Yeah,
a fine for that.
yeah, he can't be doing that in the Super Bowl. He's got to not do that. That's what my friend was saying too. Like how do you? I'm like, it's football, dude. Like
And if you watch the whole previous play, the other guy was punching him in the ribs.
right.
So it
Yeah.
wasn't an
It's not
innocent.
like it's not like the Bills are this wholesome team.
Yeah.
It's just squeaky clean of
Yeah.
sportsmanship. No, like they melted down in the fourth quarter.
Everybody wants to win, and when it's the pressure builds, you're gonna have some explosions like that. It happens. Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. I'm excited. I never thought, like growing up, that I'd ever see my team in the Super Bowl 2 years in a row.
Yeah, let alone 2 years in a row, and really one offsides call of 3.
From 3 years. Yeah. I don't know. What's that?
I think that's why I'm confident, because I know Mahomes has been thinking about that game.
Yeah.
And stewing on it, thinking I can't wait to play him.
That's only last year. Did you hear Travis Kelce's speech when he alluded to Frank Clark? He said, "We got 55 and he ain't offsides." And Andy Reid just kept on saying, "Yeah, we were inches away from the Super Bowl last year," and it was clearly like they blamed D Ford for that, and I love it. I was like, "Okay, yeah, use that." Like I do. I mean, like can't line up offsides. But if he doesn't do that, then when we don't have a whole transformation of our defense.
Right.
So
now here's the other side of that call is that how many guys, I mean, I watched multiple times in both the games on Sunday where guys were lined up offsides and they didn't call
it. Yeah, it's difficult, but I mean, that was an egregious.
All those ends doing corner technique.
Yeah.
Their shoulder pads are offsides almost every time,
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why, again, I have a difficult time giving Brady the best quarterback of all time because every time he always gets those calls.
But here's the deal.
We got it last week.
Yeah, we got it with the Browns with Dirty Dan's hit to knock the ball out.
Right.
I mean, we got that call. We have been getting those calls. So, like, when you're a good team, sometimes you get those bounces when you didn't before. And that's the other side of it.
I just hated the wait 10 seconds and then throw a flag.
Right.
Here's
the other thing.
So like a Brady game, classic Brady game where he doesn't do anything for two quarters, but yet gets credit for the win. And it's like, oh, he didn't do anything.
So here's the other thing. I think we have to, if we win the Super Bowl, we have to be prepared to become the hated team.
That's fine. I think there is a lot of that too. Everybody, people they're already like people. Oh, Mahomes is overrated. He's only good because of his weapons. Or I'm okay with that.
Because that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
So.
But we're that's fun to watch.
Oh yeah.
So
it's a blast. Like I was watching the Titans in I think it was week 17. And I was like, I am bored.
The Titans, Titans Colts.
They're going to hand off to Derrick Henry again.
Yeah, it is boring. Now, I made the mistake of actually watching the Saints Bears game. First round of the play. The Bears offense.
What offense?
Exactly. And they got the guy from the Chiefs, Matt Nagy, calling plays.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, what? My head. I couldn't watch anymore of that because I'm like, they don't not even attempting to like think about scoring. Like they don't even want that. I don't think they want to. It was like watching the 2017 Chiefs with Matt Nagy.
That's where we're spoiled. It's kind of like I grew up on Thanksgiving watching Barry Sanders play running back for Detroit.
Yeah.
And then after he left the next year, you turn on the Lions game and then you remember that Sanders isn't going to be the running back.
Yeah.
I'm like, Oh,
You're like, oh, Charlie
yeah,
Batch. Oh, jeez.
right. There you
Yeah.
go. You know, and
Yeah.
that's kind of the way I feel when I watch. And I love defensive games, but when it's just bad offense as opposed to like a good defense shutting down an offense, that's different.
Yeah. And that was the Bears Saints game. Because
Yeah,
at that point, like the Saints were running on fumes. Like Drew Brees clearly should retire. He
yeah,
doesn't have an arm anymore. And Mitchell Trubisky and the Bears offense, they don't know how to run it. Nobody knows what they're doing. There's talent there, but it's
yeah. I
just
mean, like they've got some good receivers.
right.
They've got guys that don't even drop balls, but you have to get the ball to them.
Yeah. And I don't think Matt Nagy is doing. I don't know what he's doing as a coach, um, but I watched that and I'm thinking, like, I'm so glad, like, to just watch the Chiefs game and you know that, like, okay, because I wasn't concerned at all with our offense during the Bills game. I was like, okay, they're running, they're clicking,
Right.
like, and
Yeah.
it's just they knew like what they were doing, and it's been like that like for much like every playoff game. It's like, okay, they're in control. Um,
I mean, the only one I'd say is the last year's Super Bowl. It took them a long time to get going. They were not the game plan the 49ers did in that Super Bowl was great.
well, it's because
Well,
they had the talent.
yeah, the
Um,
problem is then they rubbed it in their face with the interception and they woke the giant.
yeah,
They shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have woke the giant. Like once you
yeah,
do that, you can't turn that switch off.
no. No, but teams seem to not like the Browns did that too. The Browns tried to do that, I think, with that interception of Haney,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, and the Browns still they still like cry. Or a lot of Browns fans are still like crying about that. Well, the Browns would have won the game had
Here's,
had
and here's the
Sorensen.
deal. I actually think the Browns have a pretty bright future.
They do, they do. They're not on the Chiefs
Um,
level.
I think they're about a year ahead of schedule this year.
Uh-huh.
Like I think next year they could win that division.
Yeah,
Um,
Mayfield's pretty good. Mayfield's a decent like quarterback.
but it's
Uh,
their defense is legit. They're just they're just young. You know?
yeah. Um, yeah. And you need to stop Chad Heenan on 3rd and 14.
Yes. It's kind of like the Washington football team's defense. That may be the best defense in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
They just, couldn't move the ball with the offense because they're down to like their 15th string quarterback.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they're also the closest to beating the Bucs, by the way.
Yeah. You're right. With Taylor Heineke,
Mm-hmm.
and he played amazing in that game.
No.
I don't. Yeah, I just feel like the Chiefs. If they can just protect Mahomes a little,
Just a little bit.
we'll be good. And I do like the fact that Andy Reid has 2 weeks to get into his lab, 2 weeks to sign another Darrell Williams on the team. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yep. I'm excited. I'm ready. But we got a week and a half. So
Right.
get
Yeah. No, I know. And I hope that I actually am able to watch the whole game and not turn it off when I was so mad after Mahomes took the interception. I'm like, what are they doing? Nothing's going right. And then they came back and won. I was like, oh my gosh, what in the world? I think that, like I said, if they fall down quickly in this game, I'm just gonna go, all right.
Here we go.
Right. Yeah, yep. Okay, time to play, guys. Time to play. Like I was like that when they spotted the Bills. I was like, it's time to play. Time to play, guys.
So at what point, because now I know, Brady had that amazing game when they're down 28-3 and they came back and won. But with this Chiefs team, at what point do you think if we could get up enough that we would get the Tom Brady resigned face for the rest of the game where he knows he's just going out there calling plays?
I would say midway, like it was pretty much the Josh Allen midway through the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
After
I would love to see him have to play a half like that.
Oh, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. But
Yeah. I know.
because they were down 28-3 to the Falcons, so he was down, so he's going to think that he's always in the game. But
Right.
we're a little different than the Falcons if we get up. Mahomes is not Matt Ryan. Mahomes is actually a winning quarterback. So.
Ouch. Ouch.
Uh, yeah. Well, no, he's better, but better than average. But I don't know what their team is doing with that team. I don't know, but I think that it'll be midway through the fourth quarter, like the Josh Allen one, because that was the first time the Chiefs actually covered, right?
Oh yeah, first time in like 8 games or something.
Yeah, goodness, man. We'll see, dude. We'll see. So, what are your predictions for the game?
I actually think that this is one of those games that they're going to come out clicking, and they're going to want to put it out of reach. So I actually think this could be a semi-boring game.
Okay. And I hate the fact that I agree with you, but because like usually my gut instincts is always wrong. But I agree with you. I think that they're going to come out. They're going to have a lot to prove. I think last year in the Super Bowl, they kind of like were like, oh, it's our first time here. Mm-hmm. When they got hit in the face, it took them a while, but I think they're going to know what to expect.
Yeah, I think the danger zone would be if our secondary has an off game and we let it go into shootout mode. That's just it's always then it becomes variance. It's not as much about
then you know there's going to be an official call against us that's going to non-call. There's something's not going to go away. I don't know, Connor. We'll see, man. I'm excited though. Like I said,
bring it on.
Bring it on. Bring on Brady. Bring on the Bucs. Yeah, man.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Go Chiefs.